Hello, everybody. Hopefully, you found yourself in a nice spot. It's kind of awkward doing this kind of Zoom meeting recording. I like speaking live. That's why I decided to do the presentation today. So, hopefully, everything works good and everybody could hear me. It'd be awkward if I talked for the next 45 minutes to an hour and there's no audio. So, anyways, we'll just kind of jump right into it. My name is Vincent Coccia. I'm a recreational leader at the city of North Las Vegas. I'll get into that a little bit about what that entails. But as you can see from my background, I am talking about raising all ships, a leader's role. So before I start, I just want to go a little bit in the background of myself. I was and I am an alumni of Cortland, graduated in 2016. Before Cortland, I went to school at Rome Free Academy, where I graduated. I worked at a pizzeria, which unfortunately is no longer around, in Rome, New York. I got my recreational start, you could say, working for the YMCA in Rome, New York. And then I actually went to MVCC Community College to get my bachelor, or excuse me, to get my associates in general studies. And then I eventually found out about Cortland. Now, Cortland, I had a lot of fun adventures with my friends, made some new friends. The bottom picture there is a trip from OEP, which I'm sure everybody, if not everybody, will complete. One of the best times I've ever had. I kind of want to do that again with random people was the best part. Going on, this was my senior seminar class. With that, it was one of my hardest challenges I've ever had to face pretty much class wise in my whole life. It really kicked my butt, but I got through it and I got an internship at the Outdoor Pursuit Center, which I miss very much. There's really nothing like that out in Vegas. So, one thing I would love to do is trying to get an Outdoor Pursuit Center going, but that's down the road most definitely. So, after I graduated from Cortland in 2016 with my bachelor's, I decided to move out to Las Vegas. It was just a random, really move. I wanted to try something new. I decided why not go out west. I worked in California for the summer. Not a big fan of California, but Vegas seems kind of cool. So, I made it there. I now, as I said earlier, I now work at Silver Mesa Recreation Center as a recreation leader. Essentially, I oversee all the programs, classes, activities, the aquatics for the recreation center here in North Las Vegas. Going on, a lot of people think that Las Vegas is about the casinos and the gambling and the partying, but there's a whole outdoor life if you don't have to travel too far. So just some quick picks. The first pick is me, my girlfriend, and my canoe. That's Willow Beach. It's in Arizona. It's about an hour away. It's a really good spot. I'm kind of cheating with the outdoor living of Vegas because the bottom one is actually Bryce Canyon, also in Arizona. What do you got to do? The last picture is me, my girlfriend, and our dog. That's actually in the Red Rocks. That's about 20 minutes away from the city. So there are a lot of outdoor things to do in Las Vegas. So enough talking about my nonsense. Let's talk about why we're here, and that is leadership. So to start, we're going to talk about what you will potentially learn. I say potentially because it's not up to me to make sure you learn. It's just up to me to get you to there. So some things that we'll learn, we'll talk about why it's important to be and have good leaders, what emotional intelligence is, what makes a good or poor leader, and the difficult parts of being a leader. So throughout this presentation, I want you to think of those four things, and hopefully I could answer them all within the next 45 minutes or so. So we'll just get right into it again. So the introduction, of leadership. So we'll just start from the basics. A leader is a person who leads or commands a group, organization, or a country. When I was in English in middle school, my English teacher always told me you should never define the word if it has that word in it. So you could say a leader is somebody who commands a group, organization, or country. Command is a little harsh in my book, but a leader is somebody who takes a team and they get them where they need to be. So this is just my feedback about being a leader in the rec world. It's a big cliche in the business world. It's dog eat dog. And you know what? We're not animals. I mean, technically, humans are animals, but we're not animals. We could all work together for a common goal. It seems like people always want to step on the next person to get to the top, but it doesn't have to be that way. We could all work together for that similar goal, and we could all make it. We could all achieve our goal, whatever that might be. We might have different goals, but we can make it if we just work together. And again, this presentation will not teach you how to become a millionaire. I really don't have a passion to become a millionaire. If I am a millionaire one day, that's amazing. I don't really care. I would rather help a million people than have $1 million. And finally, a big thing about leadership is your environment. You want to find a career that you like and want to be a part of. You don't want to go to work every day and you hate your job. I see a lot of memes on Facebook and it's, oh, I got to go to work today. I hate my job. I hate this. I hate that. That's all up to them. You as a person, is your duty to yourself to find something you like. Um, and you want to find something, an organization, a career, whatever it is that shares your goals and your passion. You want to come to work every day. You're not going to get up all sunshine and rainbows every single day, but 75% of the times you should want to be where you're going. All right. So let's get into good traits of a leader. And now, if I say that, I'm sure you could babble off 1,000 different things, which is good. And that's kind of what I'm going to do right now. So first thing that I always like to talk about is listening, communication, and being observant. So obviously you want to listen, not just to your supervisors, but you want to listen to your team. You want to listen to your patrons, whoever's doing the activities. You want to make sure that you have open ears so you can understand what their needs are. You also want to be able to communicate. Now, not everybody communicates the same. Some people, some of my team, I have to reach out in text messages. Some people don't read emails. Some people will not answer phone calls. So you have to find the best way for your team. And it might not necessarily be one thing fits all. Some people you got to text. Some people you got to call out, maybe write a note. People are finicky like that. Another big thing you want to do is be observant. And now just watching everywhere you go, you want to make sure you're paying attention to how your patrons feel, how your team feels, your supervisors, everybody in the organization. You want to make sure you're paying attention to their problems, their needs. Without them, we can't have an organization. It's from the staff that comes in at the bottom level to the CEO at top. Everybody needs to communicate and make sure that we're observing everybody's needs and goals. Another thing is you want to be knowledgeable. Obviously, nobody wants that supervisor or that boss or that leader who thinks he knows everything or think they know everything and they're just a big goon. And unfortunately, that happens a lot. Somebody just gets into power somehow and they think with this power, I'm got to be awesome. I'm got to go home, get my checks, and this got to be awesome. And they don't know anything about what they're talking about. And that unfortunately happens a lot. So as a good leader, we want to be knowledgeable about what we're talking about or what we're doing. And that happens if you have what's next is compassion. You're compassionate and you have your passion. If you have a passion for something, as I was saying earlier, you got to want to know the knowledge so you could give it to your team so you could develop their strengths more. You also want to be compassionate because not everybody is a solid rock person. Some people have difficult lives. Some people are having bad days. Sometimes some patrons will come in and they're just not feeling good. So you want to make sure that you could understand that. You don't want to just, oh, whatever, you're in a bad mood or this staff member has to call out because blah, blah, blah. Sorry about that. You want to make sure that everybody likes to come to work. They don't have to be 100% passionate. Not everybody will like their job, as I said earlier, but if we can make an environment, a culture of compassion, and we can make sure that everybody's feeling good, we could get to our goal faster. That does not mean being a pushover, of course. That doesn't mean somebody is late every day because X, Y, and Z. No. And we'll get into how to kind of get around that in a minute here. Next, you want somebody who could be able to handle conflict and resolve your conflict, obviously. And conflict, we'll get into, again, a lot of this stuff we'll get into a little bit later, but conflict is got to happen no matter what. At whatever level, conflict has got to happen. And we have to learn as a leader how to deal with it. Because unfortunately, you can't just close your eyes and pretend that what the problem is gone. It's got to persist and pertain if we don't do anything about it. And again, we'll go over that. Another a good trait is being a critical thinker and thinking outside the box. Now, if we do the same thing every single day, what happens? It gets super stale and boring, not just for you, not for your team, not just for your patrons, but everybody. So we want to make sure we are thinking critically. We're thinking about every single step of the way. If we're doing something that's not working, it's time to switch it up. And that is where you got to think outside the box. You can't Google everything. I know you like to Google. We like to Google everything, every little problem we have. We could learn any skill on Google, but sometimes the answer is not on the internet. The answer is right here, and we got to think. Just think outside that box, and you will find weird solutions to the weird situations that will always come up. And don't be afraid to get your team thinking outside the box also, because with those minds, you could play off each other. And again, we could get to that similar goal. Another thing we got to work on as leaders is coaching and mentoring. And it's not like a coach, a football coach. It is somebody who could sit down and we could go over our expectations. We could go over what the goals are. We could show our team that we are passionate about things, and then they will become passionate about it, or they'll at least understand that we're not BSing them. We want to be good coaches. We want to be good coaches by doing everything I was saying. You want to listen, you want to be compassionate, but you also sometimes have to be hard on people, or you'll get stepped on. So being a good leader, you got to use all these different skills, or you got to sway one way or another into either a bad leader or a leader who is good, but you're using that goodness for too much power, if that makes any sense. Another thing, you got to have confidence. It is all about confidence. If you come into a room and you have 20 whatever people, you have 20 team members on your, just waiting for a meeting, or you're doing an orientation. If you come in scared and nervous, they're not going to want to follow somebody like that. You want to come in confident. You want to be able to, boom, let's go. This is what's going on. Um, you know, I like to say I have confidence. I do stumble over my words, but I use that for my benefit. So it's all about confidence, but you don't want to get cocky. And the last thing I'll talk about at this moment is you want to be inspiring and motivating. What's everybody motivated by when they go to work? Most people will say that check. And not to sound funny or silly, but people go to work to get paid. But if we can motivate them to become better people and to inspire them into wanting more out of the job, you'll see a lot more. If we're always telling somebody, you know, this is a dead end job, you're not going to go anywheres, yada, 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 they're going to do a crap job, because what is there to grow to? What is there to get to? But if we inspire them and motivate them and let them know, hey, you're doing good, keep on stepping up, we could move you up and you could get to the next level or whatever it is. And motivating pizza parties, let me tell you, they don't motivate anybody. If anything, pizza parties are the most unmotivated things ever. I want to work my butt off so I could get a $5 Little Caesars pizza. I could go buy one myself. We want to make sure we can motivate people in other ways. We want to make sure that we are inspiring, and that comes from your passion and your confidence. You want to make sure that you are on the pulse and that you know what is best for your employees. But also, again, every team member, every employee will be a little bit different of what motivates them. We don't want people to be stuck as front desk people their whole lives. If they want to move up, let's move them up to whatever the next level is. That's my goal as a leader. Any questions? Sorry, you can't ask because I can't hear you. Just kidding. Let's go on to the next thing. Unfortunately, if I'm being too speedy, there's no way to read the room. Again, I'm not a big fan of recording. So we'll just keep on chugging along, and hopefully I could fill this time slot. All right. So one big thing I want to talk about, and this is something I actually, researching leadership, I learned about myself, which is something amazing. So let's just jump right into it. So emotional intelligence is the big key to being a leader. So emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotional in positive ways. Your own emotion in positive ways, to relieve stress, communicate effectively, empathize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflicts. And there are 4 pillars. The 4 pillars are self-management, self-awareness, social awareness, and relationship management. And we're going to go into all four of those right now. So the first one, the first pillar is self-management. So self-management allows people to control their thoughts, feelings, and actions. So as if you ever work with young kids, young kids will always tell, oh, I have an anger issue. Oh, I get mad easily. That's the opposite of self-management. And that's something we all have to learn throughout life. Not every day can we keep excuse me, keep our composure, but with self management, you start thinking about what you're going to say, what your thoughts are, what your actions are. Because first you have first you have a feeling and you have thoughts about it. And if we don't control those thoughts, we might have some negative action. So we want to make sure that our thoughts are positive. You could get mad again sometimes. It's okay. But we want to make sure we have positive thoughts, because then we will have positive feelings and then our actions will be positive, especially working with a large team or even a couple of people. You don't want to have that boss that has that temper. So let's go on. It's also the ability to set goals independently and take the initiative to achieve them. So you want to be able to come in being a leader, and you want to be able to set up goals and set up different projects or whatever your company or your organization is all about. You want to be able to set up different goals and different things so we can achieve that. So we want to set up different projects or different activities, whatever it may be, so we can set these goals, if that again makes any sense. And then it also helps you direct the trajectory of your career and ensures you seek opportunities that get you closer to your goals. So again, self-management, how you feel, how you think, that is got to make you um, boost up and climb that ladder. If you know your goals, if you know how to control yourself, that is, people are going to notice that in your company or your organization, and you will soar through great heights. Last year, I came down to the conference and I talked about perseverance and a couple other things, but it was just kind of all about my life and how I've been knocked down so much. And if I let my feelings become dark and stay dark, I might not be where I am right now. I probably wouldn't be working this great city job right now, and I'd probably be back home in New York if I just let things get me down. So to have a positive outlook on life, that will get you there. So other skills with that is organization, goal setting, time management, self-motivation, and stress management, and accountability. So with these six here, obviously you want to be organized. You want to make sure that you're not a mess. You want to set goals, obviously. Time management is very, very important. Um, I'm a big procrastinator. As you could tell, I'm in my office right now. I already made this whole presentation. I actually had a really cool video going. And then we had some technical difficulties, and now I got to record pretty much a day before the conference, which is kind of embarrassing, but I guess I didn't manage my time correctly. COVID is a crazy thing. And then you want to be self-motivating. You can motivate others, which is great. Others can motivate you. But if you don't have that goal, if you don't have those goals, you're not going to want to do anything. You want to make sure you have goals and you have inner self-motivation. What makes you get up in the morning? Whatever it is, a loved one, an animal, maybe it is you just want that money. Whatever it is, you want to motivate yourself. And you always want to try to motivate yourself to be better. Every day, try to be better. Again, some days you wake up, you don't want to go to work, you just want to roll over and go to bed, but motivate yourself to do better. I love going to the movies, so I'll set up a movie maybe midweek, or I'll set up a date midweek or at the end of the week, and that motivates me to get through it. Um, Stress management, the rec world, whoo, it could stress you out. You don't think it would be. I know if for all the students out there, if anybody's listening to this, people think that we are in school, or you're in school to play. Oh, what do you do? Have fun all day? Yeah, we have fun, but that doesn't mean things can't stress you out. People will stress you out. Bosses will stress you out. The patrons, the children, if you have children in the program, will stress you out. It is up to you to manage that stress. Again, try to find different things throughout the week So you're not just waking up, going to work, going home, going to bed. You want to find something, oh, maybe I'm having this for lunch, or maybe after work we're doing this. Anything to make you not stress out is always good. And it doesn't always have to be a positive thing, a positive coping strategy, you know. Um, I won't really get into that much because I'm talking to a bunch of New Yorkers. So, but but anyway, so we'll go to the last one, accountability. And that's just essentially you want to be accountable. You want to make sure that not only people in your organization, not only your family, but yourself. You want to be able to make sure that you could rely on yourself, and that when you make goals and when you do things that you're accountable, and that you could move yourself to the next thing. You could set up 1,000 goals, but it's up to you to complete them. And that happens a lot. As you set up goals, you get halfway there and you're like, whatever. Keep yourself accountable for those goals, set timelines, again, with that time management. So we'll go to the next one, maybe, and that's self awareness. So, self awareness is essentially an awareness of one's own personality or individuality. I mean, that's simple as it is. You are aware of your own being. It strengthens not only your individual performance, but organizational performance as well. So if you know what you're like, you know what you're all about, your inner beings and your outer being, you will be able to help yourself perform better, but it'll also help your organization perform better because you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know when you have too much on your plate, you know if you could get some more stuff, you know if you could help more people out, etc. You also want to strive for more than individual success. So, as a leader, you are self aware. I know myself, but you want to make sure that you can help others also be self aware. And it's hard for you as a leader to make somebody find themselves. And I don't mean that in a spiritual way, but I just mean that in a self way. You want to find out what are your goals in life? What makes you happy? What makes you tick? So you want to strive to reach out to other people in your organization. You also want to, be an expert, passionate, um, and act change on that larger scale. So with that passion and with your expertise, you can go and you can change things. Might be on a small level, but it could creep up, and eventually you see huge changes in your organization. And it sounds weird, just from knowing yourself, you can make these changes, but it does happen. You have to push yourself, not too hard. You want to throw yourself off the edge, but you want to push yourself just enough so you could go to that next level, and then you could bring the people up with you, and you could get this organization and start making changes on a large scale. People don't think we just all voted, or most of us just voted. People think that their voice is not enough. But I tell you, one voice can change a million. It helps that self-awareness helps remembering why they wanted to become a leader in the first place. It helps them discover and live the impact they want to have, not just on their team members or even in their organization, but on the world. So that's even on a deeper level. If you are self-aware, you think of those goals a lot. You know what you want to be, you know what you want to do, and that's got to help your organization, because you're got to be passionate, you're got to know your goals, you're got to help get people through what they need to do. But that organization's doing better, the people in that organization's doing better. They're got to go out in the world. You're got to go out in the world, and you're got to make the world a better place. Again, not trying to get too spiritual, but being a leader is all about self and knowing yourself before you could affect anybody else. You can't change the world if you can't change yourself. So we'll go on to that. Sorry again if I'm speeding a little too much. I don't want to race here. I just want to check on something, make sure that I'm recording. I don't know if whoever's stealing this could edit this out, but we'll see. All right, so we'll go to social awareness. So some things about social awareness: you want to be able to listen, repeat, pay attention to tone, attention to body language. So just like self-awareness, you are understanding yourself, your own theory, your own feelings, your own thoughts, your own actions. This is going beyond that, and now you're being aware of other people's needs. And we do that by listening and repeating what people said and listening to the people's tones, and also having a good tone also, and also paying attention to people's body language. That also goes with identifying social cues. Sometimes I could have somebody who's having trouble with coping with things on my team, or some kids, whatever it is in the program. As I talk to them, you could start to realize that either they're really getting it and their body and their posture, they're like, oh yeah, I get this. All right, I'm going to do better. Or sometimes you just see that they're kind of looking away. They're not happy. They're not there. They don't want to be talked to anymore. And that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to just stop, let the person go on their way, or sometimes we got to send people home, if depending on the situation, and then we start again later the next day. That is totally fine, but we want to make sure that we are aware of people around us. Again, not just our team, not just the patrons, not just our bosses, but just everybody who enters our organization. Next, you want to have a pulse on the office. And I don't mean the office with Steve Carell. I mean, you want to make sure you know how everybody is flowing. I work at this Silver Mesa Recreation Center, and there's a bunch of different departments right now because of COVID using the facility, which has its ups and downs. But I want to make sure that everybody, even people I don't work with every day, but everybody is good and everybody is fine. Not everybody has to be a million and one every time, but I want to make sure that everybody in this building, especially, is satisfied. They know what they're doing. They have good goals. They're not coming to work every day freaking out, especially my team. We all had that boss where you come into work and you're like, oh, I hope this person is in today. I hope, this person fell off a cliff or something. That's how much you hate this person. You don't want that. And you want to make sure you know and you realize if somebody really is not getting along with you. You're not got to be everybody's friend. Unfortunately, as a leader, you have to kind of, what do I want to say? As a leader, you have to have thick skin, because not everybody's got to love you. Especially working with children or at a rec center, you got to have people cursing you out. You got to tell people, be telling, or people are going to be telling you, hopefully you're not telling people this, people are going to be telling you they hate you, you're terrible, you're an a-hole, whatever it is. You want to make sure that you understand what people are like in your office, in your office space. And that's not just as you come in, oh, what's my supervisor like, what's my coworkers like, what's my team like, whatever it is. Every day you come in, you want to make sure you know what's going on, what happened last night when I left, or what happened this morning, or what's going on, so you know exactly how to act that day. Something bad's going on, or some people are in bad moods, you don't want to come in all cheery, because that's just got to make them upset. If you know different things and you could get social cues from people, you won't be saying stupid things all the time, and you'll know exactly how to deal with different situations. So having that pulse on the office is essentially your best bet for social awareness. And it depends. You could be the person who goes cubicle and cubicle and says what's up to everybody. Hey, how you doing? Kind of reach out to everybody. Or you might realize that one person does not like when you come over and say hi to them. So maybe you skip their cubicle. So it's knowing everybody and finding their best strengths or weaknesses, so you know how to act in that situation or towards that person. Next is empathy. This is a huge one. You need to be empathetic a lot of the times. People deal with a lot of stuff, especially in 2020 with COVID and all this nonsense. Life is insane. Life is crazy. And sometimes it's not not everybody has it under control. And this is not just for your team. Again, I'm going to keep on repeating this, not just your team, not just your patrons, not just your supervisors, but everybody. You want to make sure that you understand what somebody is feeling. Now, you don't have to read their minds, but using listening, repeating, seeing these social cues, that is what's got to help you empathize with people and understand what they need and what they're feeling. Especially working in the recreation setting, people are going to come in and sometimes they know they want to do something. They're so bored. I need to do something. I need something to do. Listening to them, talking to them before, oh, you might like this. If it's an older person, oh, you might like playing bingo. That's lame. Not every old person likes playing bingo. People like different activities. So to talk and to listen and to share stories, this is what's got to make you a good leader. That's what's got to make you move up and just be better. And overall just have a better lifestyle and a career path. And last, you want to use reflecting listening to understand and demonstrate respect for others. So essentially, repeating. Somebody tells you something, oh, maybe repeat it back, switch it up a little bit. If you didn't hear them, or you don't understand them, talk to them. That's kind of how you reflect. Listen, let the person explain their whole thought or their whole thought process before we're like, no, XYZ, or no, this or that. We want to make sure that we are paying attention to people. We want to make sure that we are listening. And we sometimes, as a leader, somebody will tell you something and you won't even know how to answer that, essentially. And you let me get back to you, or I'm gonna write this down. Give me an hour, give me a day, and I will get back to you with that answer. You don't want to be that person who's off the top of their head, boom, boom, boom. Yes, this, and then you made the wrong choice because you weren't reflecting on what they wanted. You might make people upset. You might make people confused. So you just want to listen. Any questions? I promise I won't do that every time. All right, to relationship management. Now, as you can tell with these four pillars, there's a lot of repeat. Relationship management, social awareness, those go hand in hand. Social awareness is being aware of other people's emotions and feelings. Relationship management is now we got to work with these people, and we're got to build our relationship. We're got to build a culture of listening. We're got to make sure that everybody listens when we maybe have a roundtable discussion or we're sitting in a meeting. I know everybody loves meetings and sitting in meetings that could be emails, but we want to sit down and we want to listen to your opinions. What is going good? What is going bad? And we want to sit and listen. We don't want to, somebody talks and you instantly, oh no, this is that and this is that. No, we want to sit down, listen to it again, reflect on what the people are saying, maybe write it down, put it away, come back to it another day, and maybe those words will change how you kind of realize that person thinks, or you will see some things in your organization that you never saw before. Next, you want to learn to recognize emotions in others. Some people are really good at hiding their emotions, and some people are open books, and they will just, tell you everything that's going on. I'm not one for gossip in the office. But if somebody needs to sit down and they need to talk about their life, that's perfectly fine with me, as long as it doesn't interfere with what's going on here. So to learn to recognize emotions with others is a big key, especially if you have younger staff. I have a lot of staff that are 16 to 20. Sometimes they come in and they're overwhelmed with schoolwork or significant others or parents, whatever it is. We want to make sure that we recognize how they're feeling so we know how to go on with our day. If somebody's in a bad mood, maybe we make them do something where they're not dealing with a lot of people. Or if somebody's super energetic and happy, maybe we make them do something that they need to run around and burn some energy off. And maybe if somebody's very sad and depressed or whatever it is, we just want to figure out whatever the next step is with that emotion. A lot of times, people have that resting, face. You're like, oh, is that person mad? I usually go up and say, hey, what's anything wrong? You doing good? And usually I'm fine. They're just staring out in space. But to recognize that is very important, because that person, without even, maybe they notice, maybe they didn't, but that will be in the back of their head. Oh, that person came up to me, and, down the road, they might remember, oh, I was having a really bad day and blah, blah, blah came up, and they made me feel better. They made me realize that I was kind of overthinking things, or whatever the case may be. Next, you want to set clear expectations. Boom, boom. I'm your supervisor. You're my team member. Not exactly, but boom, boom. You don't want to be strict and mean, but you want to make sure that everybody in the organization knows what this relationship is. I like 95% of my staff and crew, but I tell them all, you're not my friends. I don't need 20-year-olds as friends. We could talk personally, as long as it's not too crazy, but you want to sit down and talk, that's perfectly fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not going out to, party with you or hang out with you outside of work. So you want to set those clear expectations. I'm your supervisor, or we are coworkers. You're my supervisor. Whatever it is, you want to make sure you know, because what happens is, oh, we're friends, we're buddies, and then that person does something, and you're like, well, I didn't really like that they did that, but we're kind of cool, so I'm just gotta let it go. You don't want that. You also want to ask questions. I always ask my team questions. Again, if you realize somebody looks like they're not having a good day, sometimes just asking simple questions, or how is your day, or what you do this weekend, or what do you have any fun plans this weekend, or Halloween just happened, like, oh, what were you for Halloween? What you do for Halloween? Those kind of questions that kind of brightens people's moods up, you know. Or a lot of people like, oh, I like your shoes. Where'd you get them? Or weird things like that. People will pick up on that, and that will make them a little bit more happy, most people. So you want to always ask questions. You also want to develop shared values. So you want to make sure that, one, we all have the same goal, especially if we're working in the same organization. Make sure that everybody knows what the goal is. But we also want shared values, whatever those values may be. We want to make sure that we have the same ones. So we don't have to have all the same values. We want to make sure that we're all kind of in the same boat. And then, ridiculous enough, be a leader. Being a leader with your relationships will help you build stronger relationships, especially if you're coaching and you're mentoring. That is a strong that's a strong relationship right there. I don't know if everybody could think of a coach or a teacher or somebody who they think for the rest of their life, because they're such a good leader and they had such a good relationship with you, and they made you feel confident, and they made you feel like you could do anything. And that's what you want to do. That's what we want to do as leaders. Is silly enough, we want to be a leader. All right, let's go on. So those are the 4 pillars. And those are just good blocks. The 4 pillars of emotional intelligence, those are good blocks to become a strong leader. Now, being a leader is not always sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there's a lot of challenges of being a leader. And these challenges could range from so many different things. But one big thing that I'm not a big fan of, and tell my crew this all the time, is coaching. Well, I love coaching, but it's the discipline, the write-ups, and the termination. Do not like that termination stuff. Sometimes you have to, but I'm not the biggest fan. So with coaching, unfortunately, some people just can't be coached, or just don't care too much about what's going on in the organization. This is a part-time job. I'm just working 4 hours. I don't care. They show up late. They leave early. They're doing a half-butt job. They're on their cell phones. So it's time to sit down with them and be a coach, because slip-ups will happen. They will happen, and you've slipped up. I slip up. Sometimes I'm running late. Sometimes I forget to do something. It happens, but it's okay to sit down with that person and, let's discuss what happened. Why X, Y, and Z? What can we do to fix that? Perfect enough. And you also want to train through your coaching. So, I noticed that, you did this, but this is how you should try it. This is how we do it, etc. We want to try to set up what we want to see with our team, our organization. You want to train, you want to coach through training, or train through coaching, however you want to say it. It doesn't really matter, because you train your staff and you want to coach them through the whole thing, but you also can coach them and train them. Again, I don't know if that's making any sense, but you want to make sure that you could talk to your team. And unfortunately, when coaching doesn't work, or the person's just not caring, or they don't want to learn, we got to start talking about disciplines. That might be sending somebody home. That might be expelling somebody, whatever it may be. We do this through write-ups. Every company is a little different. You always want to make sure you have something in writing. If somebody's always in your office because they're late, or they're doing this, and you're always talking to them, that does not matter. Unfortunately, that's just word of mouth. That's hearsay. Oh, this person's always late. Well, there's no documents, so we'll write them up this time, and they still have their chances, no matter they've been messing up for a year. So we want to make sure we write every little incident if you feel that it's necessary. And then if there's so many write-ups, there's so much trail of this person not caring, sometimes we got to terminate them. And that's not pretty for anybody. It's not fun for the person getting terminated. It's not fun for the people terminating people. I'm a young rec professional, which is cool to say. Um, in my couple of years, I've never had one time where I had to terminate somebody. I'm like, yes, this person's getting out of here. Even if I didn't like them, even if I thought they were terrible for the organization, I still don't like sitting there and um, terminating somebody. And it's not because there's paperwork involved. That's HR stuff. I don't got to worry about that. It's because I care about people and I want people to do better. But sometimes you terminate people and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And they just leave. So some people don't care. It makes you feel better, but also kind of makes you feel bad too. And one of my old supervisors used to always say addition through subtraction. So we're getting rid of that person, we're losing a person, but actually we are adding on to our team and adding on to our organization because that person was unfortunately not helping out. They're making things worse. So I always liked that term, addition through subtraction. Another thing about being a leader is your conflict resolution, which we talked about earlier. One of my first slides about the topic, at least, is about being able to resolve conflicts. Big thing right away, you don't want to avoid conflict. Conflict is healthy. Not everybody is going to agree all the time. Sometimes you need to reach out and talk to people. Again, have that social awareness and let what's going on. Why don't you like this person, or why this, why that? But what we don't want to do is just hide it under the rug. Oh, you know what? I won't worry about that. That will never bother me. It'll never come back if I ignore it. And then a month later, the lady you're trying to dodge is sitting at the front desk wanting to talk to you. It happens all the time, unfortunately. And a conflict is more than just a disagreement. It could be two people in a disagreement, but it's way more than just that. It could be a whole misunderstanding, or it could be somebody doesn't like one thing, but that's the rules, and there's a billion different reasons why a conflict could happen. Sometimes a conflict happens because something's broken and people are too quick to get upset about something, or people just get so stressed out and angry. And that's why using those four pillars and being self-aware of yourself and your feelings, it'll make you a better leader. Because if somebody's going all crazy and you go out there and you start yelling and fighting with them, now you're just start causing more conflict. So, and take a deep breath, and you could solve any problem if you put your mind to it. Another big thing, if you just ignore the conflict, it could fester like a nice gross wound. It could just fester and it gets gross and things get worse. And if you just stopped it right then and there, you might have not had a problem. Think about if you have a big dam holding back a bunch of water. There's just a little crack. Yeah, it's just a little crack. It's not going to matter. What's got to happen is that crack has got to get bigger and bigger, and boom, you just flooded the whole town because you were too, whether it's scared or nervous or lazy, you're not doing enough to solve this problem. When it could have been a simple solution, but you just made it fester and get bigger just because you didn't want to resolve it. You didn't want to be in part of the conflict. But unfortunately, being part of a leader, you're got to be in conflicts every single day. Also, we respond to conflicts based on our perceptions. So I will give you a quick example that happens all the time. I'll walk out of my office and I'll see a kid doing something they're not supposed to do, and I instantly, hey, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. And then somebody's like, oh, but this person told me to do that. And I'm like, oh, I'm now the jerk because I didn't ask questions. I just instantly perceive that this kid's doing what they're not supposed to do. Boom, I'm got to get on their butts, where I should have stepped back and asked, hey, what are you doing here? What's going on? Or, you're not supposed to be out here, or whatever it might be. You want to make sure that we sit back before we attack a conflict, because what you perceive might not be the correct thing. Also, conflicts trigger strong emotions. You know this. Everybody knows that when you butt heads with people, they might start fighting. With our kids, the teens at the basketball court, man, a conflict happens. Somebody accidentally steps on somebody's shoe or something, usually dumb. Strong emotions will happen, and boom, a big fight will break out or something will escalate. So you want to make sure that's why we get to that conflict quick, so we could de-escalate it. Not a big deal. Everybody's good. And also, conflicts are an opportunity for growth. Everybody's been conflicted one way or another with something, and it might have made you feel bad at the time. Might have made you feel like life sucks. But The thing is, you grow from those experiences. You grow from conflicts. You will be a better person at the end of the day. And the thing is, you need to step up and you need to start being a leader. And I'm not just saying you in particular, you right there. Yeah, I just meant everybody. Nobody's got to be the greatest leader in the world. Everybody, there's a bunch of great leaders out there, and I'm sure you could just rattle off a couple in your heads, but they didn't become great leaders overnight. It takes time and practice to become a great leader. And with conflicts, unfortunately, it's the not that good part. It's not the best part of being a leader, but conflicts will make you feel better later. At the time you might feel like you may have made a bad decision, maybe everything went wrong, but down the line you got to remember, oh, I made this mistake before, or oh, I had this we had this problem before, I know how to solve it. So conflicts are good for you. Don't ignore conflicts. Get right into conflicts business. All right, we're almost done here. I promise. I promise. So I'm just got to talk about traits of a poor leader. We've been talking about what makes a leader, what's an effective leader, what's a strong leader, but we want to talk about traits of a poor leader, because you cannot identify a strong leader if you don't know what a poor leader is, right? You might think somebody is doing an awesome job, but then you realize, oh, well, they are X, Y, and Z, and they do this. And it's like, I don't like that they do that. And as those four pillars, actually self-awareness, you want to look at yourself too. And, do I do these things? Is this, am I a poor leader? You don't know until you kind of know the opposite side. So some traits of a poor leader: poor integrity, somebody who lies a lot or doesn't keep promises, somebody who will tell you one thing and then do the other, somebody who will say, oh, it's all right, you could leave your food in the fridge, I won't eat it, and they eat it. It happens all the time. Um, my computer is about to die. Let me charge it real quick. 2 seconds. That's all life's about, right? Here's a conflict right here. And if I didn't put my computer in, that conflict would kill my computer. All right. Sorry about that. Back on. All right. So again, poor integrity, lying. I think I was saying some stupid thing about a sandwich. So yeah, you can leave your food here, and then the person leaves and you eat all their food. You're a jerk. And that's a silly, silly situation. But yeah, you want to have good integrity. You want to be honest with people right then and there. So many companies you go and you start working for, and it's, oh, how can I advance? Oh, you can advance, like after 6 months, a year, blah, blah, blah. A year later, it's like, oh, I've been applying for all these positions, but it's like, oh, no, just you got to do this, you got to do this. And you keep on doing it, and the person just is lying to you. So you want to make sure that you always have good integrity. Another trait of a poor leader is lack of accountability. Essentially, somebody who's not there, somebody who doesn't help out, or somebody who just never wants to do, somebody who is making other people do their job, or they're making their teammates do all the hard work or do everything. And where's this person? Oh, they're sitting in their office doing a presentation. Just kidding. But yeah, you want to make sure that you are accountable for it. You want to make sure that you keep up your promises. Nobody wants a leader that tells you one thing and then they go around and they do something else, or they're never around and they don't care. Another a trait of a poor leader is little vision for the future. A lot of people are so here and now. Where's my next meal? Where's my next buck? This right now, right now, right now. We need to stop that way of thinking, because we got to start looking for the future. It's not about all of us. It's about the next generation. It's about the next crew that comes and takes over your crew. Or, you might get a position, but you just left this place in a mess because you didn't care. You're like, I'm leaving. You have no vision. You want to have a vision. You want to have those goals. You want to set them, and you want to make little bullets in the way. If your goal is to do this, there's got to be smaller goals every time. And then those small goals, there's got to be even smaller goals under those to get to those goals. So you want to make sure you have a plan for the future. Now, this could be tough because not everybody knows where the future will hold, especially now with COVID and everything in this world. But we want to have some kind of outlook on life. Where am I going to be in 6 months? Where am I going to be in a year? What do I want for this organization in a year? What do I want to get out of this organization in a year? All these questions will help you shoot for your goals. Next is the lack of sorry about that. Lack of adaptability. Um, you want to be able to adapt. You want to be able to get into every situation, and you want to be able to, oh, I could do that. Oh, I could do that. Or I could switch that up. You don't always want to be that leader who's like, no, this is how we do it. This is how we always do it. No, that person does it this way. We have to do it this way. No, it's time to think outside the box. Let's see how far we could bend. Let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. If it doesn't work, we could always move it back, you know? And people don't like to adapt because people like the same routine. Like I said earlier, wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed. That's all people do. And they just add food somewheres, eating food in between that timeline. No, get outside the box. Be adaptable. Come into work someday and say, you know what, we're doing this today. Especially if you have a crew, you know what, we're not doing the same old stuff. We're taking this whole program and whatever you want to do. And sometimes new supervisors come in, new people come in, and you have to work with them. Just if you have a team crew that comes in and they're a little some sort of way that doesn't flow with you or the organization, you got to adapt to them because you don't want to, you're not working for us and kick them out. No, you want to coach that person, but you also want to adapt to their ways and they'll adapt to your ways. Another thing is poor communication skills. So obviously, you want somebody, or we need somebody who is able to talk to us. There's been times where I got to sit down with a supervisor, not here, thank goodness, knock on my computer, but you got to sit down with a supervisor, and they're telling you stuff. It's like, whoa, like where did this come from? It's like, oh well, blah blah blah. It's like, why didn't you tell me this earlier? Or why didn't that person come to me? Or whatever it is, you want to have communication skills. And again, it's not just verbal. It's also how you reach out to people. Some people like texting, some people like email, whatever it is. Send a Snapchat if you have to. Whatever it is to get this person's attention, we want to make sure that we communicate successfully. Another thing that a poor leader does is does put downs and belittles you. A bad leader, a poor leader is somebody who doesn't want anybody else in power, kicks people down, name calling, making sure that they won't achieve their goals, making fun of them to other people so other people want to belittle them. These are things that we don't want to do as a leader. If those are the things you want to do, you don't want to be a leader, you want to be a dictator. You just want the power for yourself, which, all right, whatever, that's all up to you, but that's not going to help you. That's not going to help your organization. That's not going to help anybody if you're got to belittle people and be a jerk. You don't have to be rainbows and sunshine and, oh, it's a wonderful day. No, we don't need all that nonsense, but you want to make sure that you're not making fun of people. You're not calling names. You're not saying silly jokes because some people don't find things funny, you know? And it gets tough because sometimes, as humans, we want to be playful and make silly jokes and comments. But as a leader, sometimes we got to stop ourselves and be like, maybe this is appropriate, or maybe, and as you become a leader of your team, you'll start to realize what you can say to certain people or who, it just depends on the person. But we don't want to put anybody down. We want to raise people up as leaders. We want to get everybody in our organization. I want everybody to be the CEO, and it's impossible. You can't, there's only one. But my position, recreation leaders, there's multiple positions, and I'm not going to be in this position forever. I want to go to the next position, but I would love if one of my team members, if I could, I move up and they move up, that would be a wonderful thing. But if I'm putting people down, I'm not going to have those people for much longer if I'm going to be a jerk about it. So I believe that is almost the end of my presentation here. I can't see a time. I forgot to do a timer on here. So I hope I'm not cutting it too short. There's just one other thing I would like to talk to you about, and that's an internship. Woo! Again, I don't know who's watching this. Unfortunately, it could be nobody. It could just be a bunch of desks and chairs. But one thing I tried to do last year, and I'm going to try to do this every year, is reach out to interns, people in senior SEM or people who are going into senior SEM who need an internship. And maybe you want to come out here and work at the Recreation Center in Las Vegas. If anybody is if anybody is interested in an internship, if anybody even needs one for one of your three, I know you need, X amount of internship, realistic internships. Get in touch with me. I'm sure I give you my information right now, but I'm sure there's information around you that has my contact and or my name at least. You could look me up, and you know, you could send me an email. I'll tell you right now my email. Get a pen and pencil ready if you're interested. It's my last name, Coccia, Coccia. My first initial V, and it's at cityofnorthlasvegas.com. So again, it's Cocciav at cityofnorthlasvegas.com. I would love for y'all to come down, at least, one person at a time, to come down, and there's a lot to learn out here. I oversee aquatics. We got some sports coming up again. We got our fun zone. We have a bunch of different activities from all ages, from the toddlers all the way to the seniors and everybody in between. So if anybody even needs an internship to write down, or you're really thinking about coming out, send me an email, because I would love to help you all out. Like I said, senior sem was one of the hardest classes for me. So it would really, really be awesome if I could help you all out. So that is all I have for you today. I want to thank y'all for sitting and listening to this nonsense. Not that leadership is not nonsense. But you know what I mean. I'm not a big fan of this Zoom, Skype video stuff, and hopefully again, this was recorded and there's video, because I mean, I'll do it again at home, but my girlfriend will not be too happy about that. So that's all I got for you today. Hopefully, some of y'all reach out to me again, Cocciav at cityofnorthlasvegas.com. Even if you write me down as one of your 3 choices and nothing happens from it. We got millions of things to do here, and it's in Las Vegas, baby. Y'all have a great night, and go Fins, go!